Welcome back to the Step Brothers. I'm Wesley Clark here with Andrew Hyden. Michigan, Ohio State are off for this week, but we have a lot of games going on with bowl games with the first round of the college football playoff. Andrew, what are your initial feelings, thoughts? We are back to college football playoff, the biggest part of the year for this sport. Are you excited?
Absolutely. Absolutely excited. This last weekend was just an empty feeling.
hmm
So I'm excited, even though I'm not watching my own team play, just excited to watch good football again.
No, exactly. We had Army Navy last week that drew, I believe, over 7 million fans on CBS, one of the largest it's ever had, maybe the largest attendance it's had on
Mhm.
TV. That was a good game, 17 to 16. I luckily was able to attend that through work. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. It's honestly better to watch it in person because when you're watching on TV, you really want, someone to huck it downfield 40 yards,
Yep.
but to see the
That's
different
not happening.
formations and all,
Yeah.
um, it's pretty cool to see just that type of football has lasted for so long. But they're definitely passing the ball more often than they did
Mhm.
in the past. But Navy wins back to back years. So I mean, obviously, like we said, Ohio State and Michigan are not playing this week. But for Ohio State, you lose that game against Indiana, 13-10. What are the things that you do with pretty much a month off? I believe it's 34 days that they have off, which is it's a lot of time. Too much time, and we saw last year that none of the teams that got a bye end up moving forward. I know they have switched over that seating, which kind of caused
Hmm.
that to happen with Arizona State and Boise State getting that bye.
Right.
But Oregon and Georgia, they had a bye and they ended up losing, and maybe that had to do with you know being a little rusty, as they would say. But for Ohio State, you know, backtracking from last week, they had four trips to the red zone, 10 points. And I do really like this quote from Ryan Day. They played a good game, but it's clear that we were not at our best. I mean, that is pretty, it's obvious. I mean, and you could say Indiana
Yep.
wasn't at their best either. And we've seen them not at their
Sure.
best, especially against Penn State. But clear that we are not at our best for sure. I mean, that you saw that, with Bo Jackson really struggled a few times, especially in the red zone, tripping on his own feet with Julian saying, I mean, just falling down. I feel like they should move away from him taking that 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1 QB sneak,
Hmm.
averaging 5.5, a little bit over 5.5 yards per play. It was very limited for Ohio State on the defensive side. And props to Indiana. I'm sure that, they obviously statistically have one of the better defenses.
Hmm.
But when you have so many first rounders and Julian Sand and Carnell Tate, and that shouldn't be happening. You're supposed to be explosive, and we saw that last year. We saw as we see Quinshawn Junkins, Emeka Buka, and Trayvon Henderson in the running for Rookie of the Year. They lost two games
Yeah.
last year, right? Like what
Right.
happened? What is that just football? Is that just sports? Yeah, I mean it is. You're going to lose games, and then losing to Michigan, and then going on a run in the college football playoff started with a 42-17 win against Tennessee, and then we watched that Oregon game, which drew 22 million. They won 41-21, so they went on a roll, and Ryan Day had them ready. But for this is obviously a different mindset, staying healthy. As of right now, the right guard position, which has kind of been wanky the entire year, is going to be open, and it's been open the entire year. And we're going to see if someone else moves there to get the majority of the snaps. And like I've said all year, I mean, initially it was the run game that was a problem. Bo Jackson, the true
Right.
freshman, fixed that with C.J. Donaldson and James Peoples, who were the only two running backs to start the season playing. They got snaps against Texas. He's kind of fixed that, but now it's the red zone. So they fixed the run game. Now it's fixing the red zone, which has been just abysmal the entire year. Middle of the pack in the Big Ten and just throughout college football after being the number one red zone offense in America last year. And I
Yeah.
think that has to do with Chip Kelly and Brian Hartline and Ryan Day calling the plays. I just think it's different. Several years ago, we saw that happen with Ryan Day. stripping roles from Brian Hartline and him sticking to recruiting and development, and he kind of fell into place for Ohio State in terms of being the play caller because we didn't want him to leave. Now he is leaving, but we still have a national championship to win. And if he's the problem, then I would rather have someone else calling the plays. But it looks like
Sure.
we're gonna have to be sticking with Ryan Day and Brian Hartline with the play calls on offense, which has been difficult throughout the years. And I'm sure next year Ryan Day will be sticking with the CEO role. But for you, I want to chime in here. What do you see? What do you think Ohio State should do, in terms of progressing and moving forward from the Indiana loss? And really, from a fan base, you want to win every single game, but you
Sure.
can't win everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you had just kind of an oh shit game. And that'll happen when you're undefeated. Sometimes you walk into a game against a team that's far less talented and you kind of just get punched in the mouth a little bit and that's fine. I mean, you're glad that that didn't happen in the first round against the Texas A&M, right? So the good news is if you're an Ohio State fan, having a kind of month to prepare allows you to go deeper into kind of your own internal issues and think about how you want to scheme that red zone offense schematically. Whereas it's hard when you have a week in between games, right? You don't have a lot of time to really work on yourself. You have to game plan for that next opponent almost immediately. So this kind of extended break, I think, will be good. In terms of that like red zone execution. I don't know if they're going to change identities to all of a sudden be slinging the ball around the yard all game long. But you would hope that they at least have some new things drawn up for the red zone, and you hope that they can convert some of those, trips into
Yeah,
touchdowns.
no, absolutely. And they, what they drew up last year, and they did throw the ball a little bit more than they did throughout the regular season, and they absolutely
Yeah, that's true.
deserve to go on the run that they did. And if they can't do that this year, then someone else will win the national championship, and it's that simple. But what obviously it's 31st. The first is when they of January is when they play. But I want to kind of get into recruiting. The final player we believe has committed to Ohio State, and that is sorry, I've been saying his name all day. Legend Bey, who was released from his commitment to Tennessee with his NIL and a scholarship. He's 17 years old, so he cannot sign his own letter of intent to a university. So what happened was his mom sent his paperwork to Tennessee on his behalf. This is one of the more bizarre recruitments I have ever
Yeah, this is
seen.
the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen something like this, I don't think.
So he posted on social media that he has been logged out of Instagram and believes he was going to get logged out of Twitter, where this is the post that he's saying. And his brother and his mom can want him to go to a school that he doesn't want to go to. They're on different paths.
Yeah,
They wanted him to go to Tennessee because of more money, and they want to go to Ohio State. I mean, before probably obviously he's getting a lot of money because he's a four-star recruit, but there's development
right.
difference between Ohio State and Tennessee. So he has now officially committed to Ohio State as of 2 days ago, and it's kind of sad to see that this happen. It sucks because you don't know what he's feeling internally because I mean he's getting put in a spot that he absolutely doesn't want to be in. And you're talking about 4 years of,
Right.
well, I mean 3 years. Obviously you can transfer, but still, it's
Yeah.
it's not the same.
Yeah,
So
it's a messed up situation. I'm glad he's being able, now he's being able to go where he wants to go. Like that's a bad situation for both parties too. Like it's not like Tennessee would welcome him with open arms and be like, "Oh, we still got him." Like, like they're like
no, no, no.
they know it's a kid that doesn't want to be there. Like they don't want that either.
Yeah, and it's nothing personal to Tennessee. I mean,
No,
they get recruits that Ohio
that's
State
that's
doesn't, but
recruiting. Yeah.
right. And we'll touch on recruiting more, during the off season.
Hmm.
It's a long list for both Ohio State and Michigan, but we'll flip it over to you, and what's going on with Michigan and especially their coaching search so far.
Yeah, so less on the field information for me today. We'll talk about the coaching search. I think it's heating up it was I really like towards the end of last week, I thought it was kind of a runway into like we might get our head coach by Friday night. Things have kind of simmered down, and I think that it's a little bit slower of a timeline than I had anticipated or than a lot of people anticipated, but I do feel like we're starting to get some transparency here. And I think, which we'll get into, I think the result of the Oklahoma Alabama game has an implication on when the next coach could be announced. So, one, we'll get into the first thing, which was big news as of yesterday, was Jedd Fisch is basically not in consideration for the job anymore. A lot of people, like myself, thought this was a name that would be strongly considered for the job. One, because, he's at Washington and you'd think he would be willing to take the Michigan job. Two, he was a successful pass game coordinator at Michigan in 2016, and he has those ties, and he was well respected by Harbaugh. So it seemed like it wasn't a dream hire for most people, myself included. But I thought it was a safe kind of floor hire that you maybe one like that you feel like you could get no matter what. But that is officially off the table because there's a search firm hiring, or, going through this whole kind of background check and vetting process of these guys because of the things that have happened at Michigan with coaches recently. So they want to make sure they don't have any skeletons in the closet. They're going to put their program at risk for more things like that, which is a good thing, I think. And there's a lot of rumors, and I don't know what's for fact about Jedd Fisch, but supposedly something about something he did or covered up at a previous job
Oh my God.
has kind of made Michigan's administration want to cool off on him. So I don't know if he's fully out of the picture, but it seems like it's that way. So let's get to who is I'm sorry, let's get to who is still in play. The top two in fans' eyes, in my eyes, and I think in Michigan's eyes, is still Kalen DeBoer and Kenny Dillingham. Now, we'll get into Kalen DeBoer first. I know that the higher ups at Michigan prefer, or a lot of people prefer Kalen DeBoer over anyone else because of his experience as a head coach, right? Like, they're trying to go polar opposite from Sharon Moore here, right? Sharon Moore had no head coaching experience. They want to get as far away from that type of hire as possible. So I understand that there. Obviously, Kalen DeBoer, had his press conference. I'm not sure if you saw, but he was asked pretty much just point blank, like, what's the deal? Like, are you going to be here next year? And he's like, yeah, yes, I expect to be the head coach at Alabama.
I
So
saw that in writing. Yeah, I saw it in writing.
in writing, and he said in his press conference, like the reporter straight up asked him twice, like, are you going to be here next year? He says, yes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It was the quote that he had. Then someone
yeah,
posted
yeah.
just the
So
graphic of quote. Yeah,
here's the thing with that. I believe him. I'm not like delusional to the point where I think, oh, he doesn't mean what he's saying. Like I think he does expect to be at Alabama next year. Now, do I think that means it's a done deal? No, I don't, because there's an, quote unquote extension that has not been signed. And on top of that, like Alabama fans like him right now, but if they were to lose that first round game, like the tone is gonna change around that program. Like his seat's gonna be a little warm next year if he stays in Tuscaloosa. And
especially what happened last year with him going 9-3 and missing the playoff.
yeah,
With Nick
like
Saban, he never did that.
the standard is high there, and he wanted the Michigan job when Harbaugh left. So, I think that's still up in the air. I know that his agent has not told Michigan a firm no. Like I know there's still communication there. Now, whether or not that's he's interested in the job or that's just, trying to get him a healthier extension, I can't say for sure. If I were to guess right now, I would say Kalen DeBoer is not going to be the coach of Michigan next year. And I'm sure you probably feel the same way about that.
Yeah, Alabama is one of those blue bloods. You usually you don't really see head coaches go leave a blue blood for another blue blood, especially Alabama. Like this is what Nick Saban did to that program. I mean, they're in the Mount Rushmore of college football
Yeah.
programs. So why would you leave it? I mean,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna just no one's. You can't just assume. Oh yeah, he's gonna leave. I mean,
Yeah. No, you can't.
I wouldn't assume that he would leave for Ohio State.
Yeah. But here's the candidate that has become my favorite. Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State. He just has so much juice, man. Like I think he would be such a good culture. fit for the Michigan program. I think he would bring a ton of life back to Ann Arbor after the Sharon Moore fallout. I know young players would love him. I know a Bryce Underwood would love him. And it's been an interesting ride with him. On Friday, all over Twitter, there was a lot of increasing buzz about Kenny Dillingham. Then it kind of cooled off on Saturday when a Arizona State like reporter or insider tweeted that he was like quote unquote close to an extension, and a lot of that buzz
Yeah.
started to cool off. Then Kenny Dillingham comes out on Saturday, says, "Yeah, oh yeah, that extension has been on my desk for weeks and I haven't signed it." It's like, oh, okay, so are they really close? That doesn't make it seem like it's close. That makes it sound like he's waiting out other things. And here's what was really interesting. I don't know if you saw this today, but earlier today, all right, maybe it was yesterday, Kenny Dillingham was asked at his media availability right after one of his bowl practices, could you, like the reporter was literally like, what would you say to dispel the Michigan rumors about you leaving Arizona State? And he says, I think my job is to do whatever I can for the people who are with me. I have to fight for those people, my family, but I love this place and that's never changing.
I also saw that he pushed back practice in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. He said he wanted to play
He's saying
basketball or
golf.
something.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I
basketball.
don't know what that's
Like, I
about.
love basketball. That's what
Yeah,
he said.
that's
I
great.
love
Yeah,
pickup.
come play basketball with Dusty May. You'll love it. So yeah, I that is not and Josh Pate said like both him and Kalen DeBoer are talking about how much they love their places. But like he said, I don't think this is the same situation. Like I think Kalen DeBoer is more of a yeah, I love Tuscaloosa. I have no reason to leave. I think Kenny Dillingham is probably going through an internal struggle where it's like I do love Arizona State and I would love to succeed here, but like for my career, you just can't do the same things at Arizona State that you could at a Michigan resource wise.
Oh, of course. I mean, you're
You
talking
just can't.
about the yearly annual, the AVV for your entire roster
Yeah,
is much higher for, you know, Michigan than it will be for Arizona State. And look at what he did last year. He got a first round bye, should have beaten Texas. I mean, they had a
yeah,
what, fourth and
no,
11, and
yeah,
Quinn Ayers throws a touchdown pass. I mean, how? So you're talking about him going to semifinals. I mean, I'm not going to say the game. If he played Ohio State, I would assume that they would lose based off what Ohio State was on.
yeah.
But still, I mean, you got to semifinal, you just ran into a wall when if you played Ohio State. But that's the level that he was able to get Arizona State. I know he had Cam Scatterbooth, who was playing an FCS program, and Sam Levitt, but still, I mean, he was able to develop
Mhm.
them.
Yeah. So I mean I love Kenny Dillingham. He's become my favorite. I think I would honestly even maybe prefer him over DeBoer at this point just because of his personality and I know he'd be able to recruit at a high level at Michigan. And like I
He,
said, like the things he'd be able to do with the resources there, I think would be he's
I,
football's Dusty May in my eyes. Like they are like the same kind of prototype.
yeah, and I mean to go back to DeBoer, Alabama's a great place to play at. I mean, they lead the country in top in the. They have a 19 years in a row they've been in the top five recruiting class. The next school down is Ohio State with like seven. So
Yeah.
it's the place for Alabama and more than the coach. I mean, it was Nick Saban. Nick Saban
Yeah.
and Alabama was obviously a great combination, but it was Nick Saban. Like obviously you saw Downs, Julian Sands, Seth McLaughlin leave Alabama,
Right.
go to Ohio State because Nick Saban retired.
Yeah. But
You
because
don't
of Nick
get that
Saban,
with
it's
DeBoer.
still Alabama and that still holds the same weight because of what's happened
No,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not sold that no one is sold that DeBoer is like that. Like you would go play for Ryan Day, but you're not going to go play for DeBoer right now. You're going to go play for
Right.
Alabama. I mean, you'd
You're
have
playing for the logo. Yeah.
yep.
And money, but like that's, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
beside the
I
point.
mean, Kalen DeBoer also just signed a number two overall class in the class of 2026.
No.
Like I think we can make a solid push for Kenny Dillingham. I know he loves Arizona State, but I think he is aware of the type of resource disparity that's there. So I know we got to move on, but I'll just mention two other names that have recently come into the fold are Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri and Jeff Brom at Louisville. I don't have any like further input on how those are names that have just recently come up. And like I said, like this is being done by a search firm. I don't know if that's just names that have been recommended to Michigan by the search firm, or if this is people that Michigan has recognized, like, yes, we're going to go after. But just something to monitor there. Those are
Yeah.
some new names
Yeah.
with the
Obviously,
departure of
Eli,
Jedd Fisch from this conversation.
not that it matters because Michigan would offer more money, but Eli Drinkwitz have a he did sign his contract extension with Missouri.
Right. Yeah.
So
Doesn't matter though. Yeah. They're because
yeah,
they're, I mean, Ward Manuel, our athletic director said, I'm going to, we're going to pull out the checkbook to make a splash
yeah,
hire.
yeah. And
Said,
and I think in that situation where someone like Eli Drinkwitz, like $1 million won't do it for him. I think he would stay at Missouri. Like you're talking about, like you, yes, like please, like I'm about to
yeah.
buy a yacht because of this money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Now we're gonna
Yeah.
go into more of a controversial topic
Yeah.
because of Joe
Here we go.
Klatt
Here we go.
and of March Madness and the college football playoff. And today at work, we spent 13 minutes. I looked before
Hmm.
we got on this exact topic, and it was me and Grant and Danny, all both of us just kind of going at it. Not like exactly going out because we kind of were agreeing on the same things, but we'll just start off, and I'll have you do basketball if you want to read
Sure.
that quote from him, and then I'll do the football. But go ahead.
Basketball. So yeah, what he said about the basketball team, he called it broken and said, hot take, right? The NCAA basketball tournament is a joke. It's the least fair tournament in all of sports. We go and we put teams at odd times at neutral sites in a one-game affair. That doesn't crown a true champion. We're not doing anything that tells us who's the best team over the course of the entire season.
Obviously, that is the hottest take he has ever had because I mean I love Klatt. I mean I listen to him as much as I can. He knows more than both of us combined, really anyone. But I mean that's tough. That's a tough thing to say because to fans. You're not saying that to players because it's very possible that some players might go into that tournament and be annoyed that they don't get a bye. I mean, technically you can get a bye if you play 16 seed, but it's not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you have to play a lot of games to get to where you want to be. So it could be annoying to some players, but for the fans, that's just you're on the wrong track completely with what Joe Klatt said.
yeah. And I mean, I don't see like what do you want to do? Play a series of three like at every step, every road in the tournament? Like it's a one game affair. Like that's most sport. That's especially college sports. I mean, I know baseball, that's like a three-game series. That's not much different. Um, but that doesn't just exist in basketball. And really, I'm assuming he's mostly talking about like the potential upsets that happen in a one game affair early on. Because when it's like if it's like a five seed versus a four seed, I'm assuming that's not what he's talking about.
It'd be UMBC beating UVA because everyone knows
Right.
that UVA is
If
better.
you're good enough to win the national title, you win that game.
So I would have to look at the statistics on this, but in college basketball, I don't. It was when Dustin May was with
Florida
FAU.
Atlantic,
That
yeah.
was like one time where it was like a couple nines, a couple fives, I believe a four. What was it? FAU was nine, right? And they had Auburn, I
FEU
believe,
was in,
Texas
they were either
Tech.
nine or an eight. And then I remember they played, because Purdue lost to Fairleigh Dickinson at 16,
Yes.
then FAU played Fairleigh Dickinson in the next round.
That is an anomaly
Yeah,
compared
that's the exception. That's not the
to what
rule.
happens since the tournament start when Oregon beat Ohio State in the first ever tournament. Like this
Yeah,
is
you want to talk about that? Is that not fair too? Like, is that a? I mean, you would crown Oregon like the regular season national champ, right? So is that fair to put them against Ohio State in their first round
yeah, I
playoff?
mean, yeah. Well, I was actually talking about the first ever basketball tournament when Oregon beat Ohio State in the first ever March
I didn't
Madness.
know that.
Yeah.
So,
But
but my point is true though. My
yeah,
point is
yeah.
true.
Theoretically, he was talking about what the World Cup does, where they have the pools, which is coming up here pretty soon in the United States. Yes, that could work. Now, if you started that back in what, 1962, yeah, maybe we would go along with it. Because yes, that could work because it does work for World Cup and the 3-2 out of three, just the whole regional, how whatever works for college football, college baseball. Yeah, it works. But it's been like this forever. Like this is a tradition as well as it kind of works. Like you're last year I know we saw Houston, Florida. Houston was one. Wasn't Florida one too? Wait, didn't we have all four
All
ones?
one seeds.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, and we'll get into this college football, it is usually the best teams that get in it. And what he said about college football, less of a hot take, but he said, let's see, where do I start here? The reason the group of five is included in this playoff is to avoid antitrust litigation. That's it, guys. We're not looking for a Cinderella. Nobody cares in football about James Madison or the equivalent of George Mason going to the Final Four. Nobody cares in football about that. We don't want Cinderellas. We want the best teams playing each other at the end. Now, before we say anything, James Madison, George Mason, both Virginia schools. So I guess
Nova
Virginia is
school. Well, kind of Nova schools.
the
Yeah.
Virginia is the Cinderella state. But like I get it, and this is what I was saying today on air, and I was going through viewership. Nobody, he's he, where he says we don't want Cinderellas. That part, he's right. Like he is right. And this is what I said was I read over
See,
the viewership. SMU had 6 million people watch the SMU game. It was the lowest of the first round. The lowest in the quarterfinals was Boise State. So if you want to talk about we don't want Cinderellas, if anyone wants to talk about it, okay, well check yourself. And were you sitting on the couch watching that? No, you obviously watched it because
I was.
you were watching Tulane in North Texas. But the people who go out drinking don't get a say in whether we want Cinderellas or not because they'll wake up the next day hungover and be like, "Oh, James Madison beat Oregon." Okay, but I was sitting on my couch the entire night watching it. So I get to
Yeah.
talk about whether or not we want Cinderellas, and I don't think we do because the general population is not waiting around to watch this game.
Yeah. And let me jump in. Like, I think Cinderellas are not the same in the NCAA tournament as they are, or in basketball and March Madness as they are in football, right? Like, no one was watching Oakland play Kentucky last year in the first round. Then once they win, then people start to tune in, right? Like it only becomes attractive once that exists. People don't start off watching the 16 seed saying like, so like
Yeah,
I hope they win. Like people aren't paying attention to that game, but then you start to build it up. I thoroughly believe if James Madison were to beat Oregon, then people would be paying more attention to them in the next round.
absolutely. But if you're going to compare that to what Ohio State is going to generate, if they go to
No,
all
I
three
get that. I
games,
get that.
they had more. I mean, obviously they went to the national championship. There's nothing compared to that final round, but they had the most viewed game at every single round, and they started in the first round. Oregon, cause obviously has a big fan base. Notre Dame, who is the second biggest fan base in America behind Ohio State, had the second highest viewership after Ohio State. Alabama, I mean, I had been told by somebody that he misses Nick Saban. I'm like, why? And really, it's because you miss the dynasty. You miss a team dominating. So, but now with Alabama, possibility of they didn't even make it last year. Now it could be a first round exit. So why do we want a dynasty? You want a dynasty, but then you will bitch about I want Cinderellas. So I don't
Yeah.
understand where some people are coming from because one, I'll go back to it. You're not going to watch it. You're not going to watch JMU. You're not going to watch Tulane.
Yeah.
But then you also want Ohio State. You'll shit on Ohio State the entire time, but then watch every single game that they play in. I mean, it was 42-17. And they had 15 million people watch that game through the entire first to fourth quarter, at least the
Yeah.
start of the fourth quarter. It just to me that's the one part where he is right about it. Now with the group of five, it just he'll know more if that might be true. But it's definitely true about the antitrust litigation. I mean, they would sue. The
Yeah.
entire NCAA and the committee.
Yeah, I mean the expanded playoff is built on the premise that the group of five would be included.
Ohio State, Michigan, the Big Ten would have to pay schools like Boise State to not play them. So that's why, and that's a huge problem to me because I don't want to spend money against a team that I'm going to beat 99 out of 100 times. And Boise State, yes, they won back in 2007, January 1st. They beat Oklahoma by 2 points in double overtime. That happened one time. So I want to play them. I would rather play them than pay them.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw last year, it was a free ride for Penn State to get to
Yep.
the semifinal.
Yep.
They played SMU, who first year in the ACC, and Boise State. So yeah, I mean they got at least they got to the semifinal. They had the easiest path.
Yeah.
And look at what Oregon had to go through. They got dog walked.
Yeah.
I know Ohio State won the national championship, but it's like this. I mean, the seeding was terrible, but
Yeah. I mean,
still,
and that's changed, but
because I mean, this year is also a perfect example because Oregon is probably the only school that has a chance outside the top four. I think it's going to be the teams who have the buys or the teams who are going to win it. Unlike last year, where nobody who got the buy even made it to the semifinal.
yeah. So wait, let me be clear. So are you pro group of five?
I'm
Because you say
pro
you don't
group of
want
five.
Cinderellas.
I don't want Cinderellas. No, no. I don't like the hypocrisy that people who want Cinderellas. Like I'm sick and tired of people saying I want Cinderellas. Okay, but watch it then. Watch the motherfucking game, bro.
So okay, but I'm confused. So you do think the group of five should have a guaranteed spot?
Yes,
Okay.
but I agree that when he says nobody wants Cinderellas, the part where he says we're not looking for a Cinderella, yes, you're right
So then
because
why do you want the group
nobody
of five in?
because to me that because then you're just causing legal issues.
Okay, but you see how that's like contradictory.
But also, why should someone like Boise State from last year lose one game to Oregon and not make it?
Well, I get that, but that's what I
And we saw Cincinnati beat Notre Dame in 2021.
I know when they were in the playoff because of it.
Yes, but the thing is, Ohio State was left out. We would have beat them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There are times when Ohio State was left out because they had two losses. That's fine. Even one loss. When we lost to Oklahoma, we were left out. Dwayne Haskins didn't get a chance to compete for a national championship with a national championship caliber team because there's four teams. They weren't good enough in the eyes of the committee. That's just how it rolled. Now you've expanded it, and now all of a sudden people have a problem with one spot going to a group of five. Now, if we're talking about group of fives having five losses like Duke, then maybe I'll be convinced. But two loss Tulane, I mean, come on, it's one spot. And
Right.
I had Longhorn people who root for Texas, and they want to see Boise State over Texas or the Tulane and the James Madison. You lost three games. You almost lost to Kentucky and Mississippi State.
Yeah. And I'll jump in and say I do think this would be a lot less of a deal if there was only one group of five team in. Like if it was Virginia instead of JMU, I think this would not be as much of a discussion. And I
That's
don't think I don't think I texted you this earlier. I don't think we're gonna have another 7-5 power conference champion with the 9 game schedule that everybody's moving to next year. I don't foresee that being an issue in the future.
it would not be an issue, but of course, the one league that is just poor and can't get anything right is the ACC. It's just poverty over there. I mean, how
Alma
can you
mater.
not
ACC alma mater over here,
have
baby.
how can you not exactly? So I get to say it. I had to sit every Saturday and see ACC across the field in dog shit football, whether there was the home team or the away team. I mean, it was terrible every single week. Yes, it is a major issue that two group of five teams made it. That should absolutely not happen. Absolutely. BYU to me was more deserving than James Madison. But the problem is they set the standard that five conference champions were going to make it. Now next year, all Power Four champions make it. So Duke would theoretically be in the playoff this year. Now they are moving the nine teams, not a nine schedule format, which is probably not going to happen. But you also got to change the tiebreakers. Why is Miami
Yeah, I don't
not
know.
playing in the ACC championship? What is that? I mean, if you're not going to do, if it obviously conference matters, if a team is 9-3, and let's say UVA was 9-3 and Duke was 10-2, but in conference UVA is better in conference. Absolutely, they are the one seed in that conference. But the next tiebreaker, or at least one of them, close by, should be overall record.
Yeah, or like I think you could just do strength of record
That yeah, but then
overall.
but then you're able to debate. That's the problem.
No, like you have like just the ESPN metric.
The only problem I have with the ESPN metric is that there are some biasness. There's not like there's just
Fair.
assumptions
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
between
No, you're right.
like A&M. Like we all knew A&M had a terrible schedule. So
Right.
in that case, Miami should be or a team like Miami should be ahead of A&M. Like Notre Dame to me is better than A&M, but they were gonna put Notre Dame behind A&M because of a metric like that. So if you just get rid of the assumptions,
Well, I ain't head to head.
yes, that's true. But also just let's just say, and I forgot about that. Uh, there will be a situation where a team, actually just straight because of the conference, like a team in the SEC will be ranked higher because they're in the SEC. But either way, it's
Yeah.
just one spot should go to the group of five. I absolutely disagree that two got in this year, but that is the
Okay,
ACC's
well
fault.
that's different. Yeah.
That is complete tomfoolery on the ACC for doing
Tomfoolery.
this.
Yeah,
I just don't understand because it was either going to be Miami or UVA. I mean, it's not that freaking hard. But
yeah,
but you can also make an argument if Miami lost that, why play in it? Why would you play in an extra game if that's going to ruin your chances? Because we're seeing a
yeah,
situation right now that they didn't win, but they got in. They moved up even though they were idle for a whole week.
yeah. I'll say one thing, and I think we should move on to the bracket. But I think part of the issue is people will take one event or one occurrence and just think that means something needs to change, right? Like a 7-5 team winning the ACC this year. Sure, I mean it could resemble an issue with the tiebreakers, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the whole system is flawed, right? Like that's very unlikely to happen again. And it will not happen every year, right? Even last year, Boise State was a 3 seed in the college football playoff. Like I know we changed to the straight seeding format, but even if you just had the same format, like that would not continue to happen every year, right? And the same thing holds true with the results of the games. Like this is the part that's going to annoy me is no matter what happens on Twitter on Saturday after Tulane and JMU play, if they get blown out, well, it's well, this is why, they shouldn't be in. And if it's close, well, it's like well, everyone let everyone in. Like no, it's a one game sample size or a one team sample size or even a 1 year sample size does not define the system and it does not define what's right and wrong.
I just hate the whole point differential because Tennessee should have been left out last year. I mean, they were terrible. But because they're in the SEC and the SEC is so great,
Yeah, but last year was also there were not like this many. It was not flooded with 10-2 teams.
I just don't think this would not be a topic of discussion if BYU won. I mean, do we really have an issue with Tulane being in? Like, it's one spot, and there's just there could cause so much issues, and also the chance, like in the ACC in the NCAA tournament, where a team like Tulane ends up being pretty good down the stretch, like with Boise State in 2007, Cincinnati beating Notre Dame in 2021. It happens. So the fact that it happens, you have to give them the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I don't think I know people are even Joel Klatt is vouching for like a group of five playoff. I don't think you need to like separate the sport like that.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Like
You want to talk about viewership, which I do like talking about because that is why I have a job. Like that is very important, but nobody cares.
yeah,
Everyone knows that Tulane, North Texas, and JMU were the top teams in the Power Five, group of four, five. Like that is straight up. You don't need to go do this playoff format.
yeah,
I mean, if Virginia would have won, then maybe it'd be cool for JMU and Tulane to play in it. Would I watch it? Yes, but the casual fan is not watching that. They don't care. And also, then it's kind of screwed for them. Not only do they have to play an extra game, but now they have to go to Oregon as 21-point underdogs and just having to play an extra game the week prior. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
You
So
can't you
what
can't do that.
are we transitioning here?
Yes, we're
You
gonna
just
do the
mentioned the spread.
bracket because by the time you see us again after this, Alabama, Oklahoma, all these first round games will be played. So we're gonna list.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull out the bracket. Eventually, we'll be good enough at this where we can just put it up on the screen.
Yeah.
But right now, you're just gonna have to listen close, I guess.
So December 19th, that's Friday, 8 o'clock. OU is 1.5 point favorites. They beat Alabama by two the last time these two teams faced. And there's a little stat that I have here. The last time that Alabama lost to the same team within the same season was back in 1893. It was Birmingham Athletic Club defeated the Tide on back-to-back occasions. That was the second full year of varsity football for Alabama. So really, they've never lost to the same team twice. So, but Alabama going to Oklahoma, Andrew, tough. I mean, all these games, these we said like these two games with the SEC team are tough to pick.
They
What are you
are.
doing?
Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this one. I'm gonna be rooting for Oklahoma because of, the Kalen DeBoer situation. But if I had to pick it objectively, I think I would lean Alabama here.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Alabama too. I think that the pass game is elite. Oklahoma's defense can struggle with that. Now, Alabama's run game is one of the worst I've seen from a power school this year. But I think that, you know, I mean, they've won games just passing the ball.
Yeah, and,
So,
and here's, I mean, the issue is that Alabama in the past few weeks, their pass game has not looked elite. It is, their offense has really struggled. But, we go back to, or I go back to that, what I said about Ohio State. Like you get, some extended time to prepare. I think you see some new things schematically. I think Kellen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb will have hopefully some new life. Now, does that mean I think Alabama's gonna score 40 on Oklahoma? Absolutely not. I've seen that Oklahoma defense, and they have some absolute dogs, especially on the defensive line. I think, especially for a team that passes as much as Alabama does, they're going to be able to get, pin their ears back in pass rush, and there's going to be some, obvious passing downs with their lack of a run game. And I think they're going to get after Ty Simpson. But I don't think Oklahoma can score enough. I'm thinking like maybe a 21 to 14 type of game.
yeah, we just saw like the run game is just, it's not good. And we saw them have negative rushing yards against Georgia in the second half. And then they struggled against Auburn. I mean, Auburn should have won that game. Uh, if I mean, they had probably the most amount of drops I've ever seen ever in a college football game. But yeah, I'm gonna go with
Auburn played like didn't they play Georgia close this year too?
I think so. Uh,
What
but
a
yeah, I'm going with Alabama as well. I think they have a good enough coach to reset the
yeah.
clock and forget about it.
I
I
think the
think,
extra week or so is big here for them, and I think that's what does it.
yeah, I mean, last year we saw, I mean, losing Ohio State losing twice was the best thing that ever happened to them. So both of us going with Alabama. They will play Indiana in the Rose Bowl.
But yeah,
Now we
Boomer
go.
Sooner, Kalen, come home. You know where you belong.
uh, so now the next game, let's see, noon will be, yeah, it's Miami versus A&M. This is another tough matchup. That is on
Unfortunate noon game here.
on ABC, ESPN. Yeah, I mean, it is like noon games do have a lot of views, so it sucks for on
Yeah, but like
campus.
Kyle Field at night for this one
No,
would be
I know
sick.
for sure. It just has to do with Oregon being on the West Coast. But
Yeah,
Miami, Texas A&M, the winner plays Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl on December 31st, not the first. Uh, man, I want to say Miami here.
I
I
thought
just
about it.
and I probably I'm gonna go with Miami. I think that with they've had time to prepare. They've had some tough losses. They're on a streak right now, and people didn't want them in the playoff. People calling for their heads, and I think that, and we've seen A&M losing 31 nothing to South Carolina. No, 31-3 was it?
Yeah,
Or
at halftime.
28-3,
Yeah,
something at halftime to South Carolina. I just think Miami's this is going to be the second best team that A&M is gonna face this
yeah.
year.
This home field advantage is kind of playing with my mind a little bit here. If it was a neutral site, I would pick Miami. But I think
That's
the
enough.
home,
That is a problem because
yeah.
I don't trust Miami players
But
to do
here's the
anything
thing,
like that.
like Miami under Mario Cristobal, the issue has not been getting up for big games. It's been losing to teams you shouldn't lose to, right? So I
Yep.
think they'll have no problem getting up for this game. And let's remember last year, Texas A&M started 8-0, and once that first la loss hit, it was just a collapse. I envision something similar here. I
Yeah,
think
you look at the list of the teams they
I'm
beat.
going to take Miami as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely agree. Like, it's just saw a collapse last year. We've seen the teams that A&M has beat this year. It is literally the bottom half of the SEC. I mean, the fact that they get lucked out with that schedule, it
Yeah, that's
shocks me.
insane. That is insane.
They should be talking. The SEC, if anything, should be talking about how that worked out for A&M. But anyway, Miami
I
will be
never get to
facing
that.
Ohio State on December
And
31st.
can I just add something too?
Yeah,
Marcel Reed, how many playoff games has Marcel Reed played in?
0.
How many games with this kind of magnitude has Carson Beck played in?
Yeah, yes,
Quite a few.
yeah. No, that too, for sure. With the experience. And then there's a couple, I mean, Ruben Bain,
Dog,
he's a
yeah.
first rounder.
Top
So
pick.
he should
Not
play,
top
right?
pick, but top 10,
Yeah.
top 5.
Um, yeah, so moving on. 3:30 Tulane Ole Miss. I mean, actually, we'll just do both at the same time. James Madison, Oregon. I am
I have less to say about this one, yeah.
yeah, I mean, a group of five is especially these teams last year, like we saw Ashton Genty, who could have been who was a playmaker against Penn State. I mean, it's just they don't have that type of weaponry with these two teams. They just don't. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way to me.
Plus, a team from Harrisonburg, Virginia, flying across the country to Autzen Stadium. That's a rowdy environment. They're going to be up for this one after what happened in their first playoff game last year. I
It's
think it,
close to 4,000 yards, 4,000
yeah,
miles
I
traveled
think this
for.
is a blowout.
Yeah, both of these. So Oregon playing Texas Tech, Old Miss playing Georgia for that C matchup. So January 1st, or actually we can go to the 31st, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Oh, I say we'd be playing in the Cotton Bowl for the.
Are we skipping Tulane Ole Miss?
Oh, I just thought we're doing both of them at the
I'm
same
picking a
time.
Tulane cover.
Okay, that's fine.
I think with the lack of Lane Kiffin, I think maybe you see some like type of thing where early on it's just kind of like a weird mess with Ole
Mhm.
Miss, and Tulane exploits that. But I think Ole Miss will win in the end by 14, something like that. That's my prediction.
So have Ohio State playing in a third straight Cotton Bowl. They'll be playing what we predict Miami. I I actually think that A&M. I think A&M is the better matchup for Ohio State. I mean, either way. I mean, I saw Miami in person this year, and it wasn't convincing to like what I saw Ohio State play in person as well. So I mean, I just think Ohio State would probably win 24-10, 22-10.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far. I would say I would lean Ohio State. Not even lean. I would pick Ohio State pretty comfortably, but I think it would be like a 27-20 type of game.
Yeah, there's just no way they score that many points.
Okay. We'll see.
So next up would be Texas Tech versus Oregon. Now might be the game of the playoff.
Yeah, this is a fun one. These two teams played a couple years ago, a non-conference game. I think that's when that was.
Yeah, I didn't watch that. But
It's like a
man,
week one
that's
game.
Oregon to me is the best. It's obviously the best team that can win the national championship that doesn't have a bye. But this is Texas Tech's Super Bowl every week to me. I know, but when you think about it, Oregon hasn't. You know what? I'm actually gonna go with Oregon. I just switched my pick on the spot.
Mid sentence.
Yeah, Dan Lanning. I mean, he has done nothing in the playoff, and he needs to prove himself. And
Yeah.
I think, and I
This is a tough
think,
one. I'm actually really high on Texas Tech. Like I know some
no,
people call them frauds. I think Texas Tech is really good, especially on defense.
oh yeah,
But they've struggled a little bit on offense at times. They have a similar problem to Ohio State, where all they do is kick field goals. Well, actually, Ohio State doesn't kick field goals; they just trip on fourth and one.
they miss on 27 yarders.
Yeah. Texas Tech does make field goals, so that is good. But they have a similar kind of red zone issue. I'm going to take Oregon here, but again, I'd be really excited. Well, I am really excited for this matchup because you assume we're going to get it. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited for this one.
yeah. No, this would be fun to watch. Now we have Indiana, 4 o'clock in the Rose Bowl against Alabama. I mean, Indiana's great. I mean, they Ohio State doesn't have the best run game, but it's definitely better than Alabama, that's for sure. And so they
Yes.
will not be able to run at all.
No.
Pass game, I think maybe it'll do a little bit more than what Ohio State did in the Big Ten championship. Not with what Ohio State can do, but it just won't be enough for that defense on all three levels of
Yeah, and Alabama or Indiana losing one of their
yeah.
best defensive linemen hurts. But again, I don't th Indiana, they're really good against the run. I mean, they just don't give up explosive run plays. They just don't.
Yeah, so Indiana against Oregon in the Peach Bowl, and then we have Georgia and Old Miss. And I mean, I don't like Georgia. I mean, especially after I watched Georgia Tech. Like it just to me, they have an offensive problem. In fact, I think everybody here has an offensive problem,
Yeah,
to be honest with you. Like
yeah.
this year, defenses are great from Indiana, Georgia, Ohio State. Actually, all four of these buys.
Yeah, it is interesting. Not like, I mean, yeah, this is no longer like the air raid Big 12 Mike Leach kind of college football.
No, there's none of that at all. Uh, but I'm going with Georgia. I mean, you even said that Tulane. I'm assuming you're picking Georgia. I mean, the fact that you said they're going to cover them. I'm assuming you're going.
I'm picking Georgia. Ole Miss was beating Georgia by maybe 14 in the fourth quarter in Athens in the regular season. They scored touchdowns on their first like six drives, something like that. I don't think that is something they can replicate, especially without Lane Kiffin.
What game did you say?
The game where Ole Miss played in Athens this year,
Yeah, yeah.
Georgia came back and won.
Yeah, that's just not that. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Like, I just think that, I mean, Georgia to me has actually done. I know they, like, I just criticized them against Georgia Tech, but they obviously did well against Alabama. They have gotten better since week five, six. They have. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, that's
on
Kirby
all
Smart
parts.
guarantee.
No, 100%. I mean, he put the players on the field. You don't have a tough out of conference schedule. I know they played like Marshall. Uh,
Yeah, and
yeah,
their defense is starting to look more like a Georgia defense.
no, it is absolutely. I mean, an Old Miss, like you said, without Lane. I mean, just with everything going on, I think they nice win in the first round, but
It's hard.
yeah,
It's hard to pick against Georgia here. Yeah, it
yeah.
just is.
So that's it. So that moves to Ohio
Quarterfinal.
State, Georgia, and Oregon, and a rematch between Oregon and Texas Tech. We can do that one.
Indiana.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Oregon here. Um, I think that this two loss against the same team I mean, I can't really remember the last time that happened, and it doesn't happen. And Oregon has They obviously Indiana has something to prove, but Dan Lanning has something to prove, and I do have a problem picking them, but I just and probably some hope that they win as well. But I mean, if Dante Moore didn't throw those two interceptions, I mean, you could have saw a game-winning drive, and you could see Evan Stewart at this point be in the game.
Yeah. The thing is, I just the way that Oregon lost at home to Indiana, it was not a fluke. Like they got beat handedly. And I know
Yeah.
it was a 10-point game. Like Fernando Mendoza threw a pick six, so there's seven right there. Indiana just dominated them, and I think Indiana would win this game. I think it'd be a great game, great matchup. But I think I would take them by like a field goal or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at what, Oregon going to double OT with Penn State, you can and then you wonder what in Northwestern, not that it was close, but a couple crazy plays and they're into it. I was a good team. They only beat them by two,
Hmm.
but I think offensively they gotten better since that
Yes.
Indiana game. We've seen Indiana struggle against Penn State. I
So did
don't think
Oregon when you think about it.
I don't yeah. Yeah, I mean, but they're without James Franklin and just way less chaos, emotional chaos. Because to me, Penn State wasn't bad at all. Now, what was I about to say? Um, it's gonna take me longer to think that a team will go win 16 games. Just like Oregon last year won 13 and then lost to Ohio State. So if I were to even pick Indiana, I'm 100% picking them to lose the national championship. But I'm not.
Yeah, well, we'll see what I pick.
I am
I'm taking Indiana to beat Oregon again.
picking Oregon and now Georgia, Ohio State. For Ohio State fans, Georgia is the one program that probably pisses them off because they feel like they got ripped off on a targeting call between against Marvin Harrison, and of course our kicker, costing us what potentially would have been a national championship against TCU. What I
Would
saw
have
against
been a national
Indiana,
championship,
yeah, theoretically, yes.
not
What
theoretically.
I saw against Indiana, they will lose if they play like that. Indiana has a better defense than Georgia. I mean, the Georgia's very good.
Georgia's got better guys running around.
Better running around, but I don't think that you guys have better corners than Indiana.
Probably true. Probably true.
And that's why actually not even obviously Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate didn't do anything. But for the Georgia Ohio State game, I do worry. I honestly I was asked today in the studio who if Ohio State were to lose, who would it be? And it'd be Georgia. Uh, because I think that if they played Indiana again, they would win. Um, but yeah, I mean Ohio State. I'm just biased. I think if Ohio State's at its best and Georgia's at its best with the players on the field, it would be Ohio State for
Yeah.
me.
I'm also biased. I'm just biased in the opposite direction.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is a tough one to pick. I'm tending to take Georgia. Maybe most of that is just bias. Don't care. See who I'm picking. I don't know. You don't know. I don't know what you're going to see out of Ohio State. Are they going to look like the best team ever assembled after a loss again, like they did last year? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? If they're at their best, is there anyone in the country that can beat them? I would say no.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, if all these teams are at their best, I'm not going to assume that all of a sudden Georgia plays a bad game. But I mean,
But
you've
I
seen
think
Georgia
Ohio
struggle.
State at full strength beats Georgia at full strength.
Yes,
I would
and
say that, but I'm picking Georgia because I don't think that's gonna happen.
yeah. So now it's for us two different. Now you have Indiana and Georgia. Where are you going with?
I have Indiana and Georgia. Yeah, I think this one, there is the old saying about blue chip ratio and how it has to be above 50%. Indiana has like an 8% blue chip ratio, something like that. I think that is eventually what sells them short of a national championship. I think this is one where maybe you feel good,
The
but then you match up against the kind of guys that Georgia has, and it's just like,
They don't care about being in a national championship. They care about beating you.
yeah.
That's the problem.
And they're just, yeah, they're
The
gonna
moment
go,
it will be way too big for
they're gonna go
Indiana,
play on Sundays, and you guys are posting on LinkedIn, like
which is true. And today we had someone from the Big Ten Network come on, and not that he said it, but it was kind of an agreement with one of our hosts, Grant, that and Grant was saying Fernando Mendoza, yeah, he'll be day one, probably pick one, round one, career backup. I mean, Dante Moore,
really.
oh yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's good, but
Fernando Mendoza to me is not going to be good in the playoff. Reasons is because you saw him play against an NFL defense in Ohio State and couldn't do anything. So
yeah,
you're going to see that every single Sunday in practice, even. There's no way.
I don't know. I'm not counting him out. Maybe I just love his character too. I think that pays dividends in the NFL, especially for a quarterback. But
Yeah, so for me, I have Ohio State and Oregon, and I hated playing Notre Dame last year. Well, in fact, we only had Notre Dame. The only options were Penn State and Notre Dame. One, we had already beat Penn State prior, and we had played Notre Dame twice, 2 years in a row, not making it 3 years because they ended up winning. This is that revenge factor to me. Like I hate because like Penn State. I mean, I'm talking about teams don't lose 2 times
you
in a
would have
row.
loved to rub it in Penn State's face again, though,
Yes, but the thing
one
is,
more time.
negate everything you've done since 2016, and Penn State has a national championship. That's the problem. Now we beaten Notre Dame every year since 1936. So that's why I hated both of that matchup. I wanted to
My
play
God, is that
Georgia.
true?
Yes.
It's insane. I didn't even know that.
But I'm gonna pick Ohio State, obviously. Some bias, but if I'm putting every team at full strength in this entire playoff, if everyone tries to goes there and balls out, then Ohio State's again the best team in the country. Now I just don't think anyone is going to score more than probably at least 20 points. And I'm not just going to assume that somehow Ohio State's offense didn't get better after just an abysmal offense. I mean, you run out 13, 14 man personnels and it just doesn't work. I will highly doubt we see that in the red zone as
Yeah,
often as we did.
I'll say I think Ohio State is more likely to trip up against Miami or A&M or what's the team they play after that? Georgia.
Yeah, it would be Georgia if
Georgia, than
they.
any team they would play on the other side of the bracket. Like I think if you get through that and you get through Georgia, then I don't think anyone that could come out of that other side
Yeah,
could beat Ohio
yeah. I mean,
State.
we talked about Texas Tech's offense. I mean, there's no way they were
They would
scoring.
score 3 points.
Yep. And Ohio State might score 16, but it
Don't matter.
doesn't matter. And I think they would beat Indiana again,
Yeah, I do too.
or if they played again. But uh, so yeah, we'll see. I mean, I am happy that Ohio State, a year ago, I was traveling to Columbus during this week to go see Tennessee. I'm glad I don't have to do that again because so I can have some time off and watch the bowl games stress free until New Year's Eve, which I just realized I had can't have I had plans for New Year's Eve. No more.
Cancel them. Are they playing on New Year's Eve or is it New Year's Day?
Yeah, it's December 31st.
Mm. So they're the one game on the 31st.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will not be doing anything that day, which not that I really care about New Year's Eve anyway. But yeah, that's a bracket.
Yeah, I think it's funny how different of like situations we're in right now with our teams.
Talk about like trying to win a national championship and your
And
coach
I'm
just
just
went to
like,
jail.
yeah. But it's just like I'm just yeah, just trying to find a coach, man.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to hire Rich Rodriguez or Brady Hoke. I mean,
That is true. You don't want to
that
hire
would
Sharon Moore.
that would
So
set you back years. So yeah, best of luck on that.
yeah. I
We'll
want Kenny
see.
Dillingham. I want him, man.
Yeah, I mean that is the best option for sure. But
We'll
just
see.
to kind of yeah, just sum everything
It is
up.
fun. It's very stressful. I mean, I'm sweaty. I've refreshed Twitter like 25 times an hour, but it is kind of fun being a part of a coaching search. Like, there's a lot of buzz gets thrown around, and it's
Yeah, I can go back. I took a quiz the other day, and I took back, and I was able to uh, guess every Ohio State loss from like back in like 2010. This one, Ryan Day's 11th loss of his coaching career, head coaching career, it's really not that bad. Like it's just you can't win everything. I mean, it's just like even the Dodgers. I mean, you talk about the Dodgers, you talk about the Patriots. I mean, look at the Chiefs. One of the greatest dynasties of all time are not going to the playoffs this year.
sports. Yeah,
Like
that's how it
it just
is.
happens. I mean, the Dodgers going back to back, but they had a terrible regular season. So it's really not that painful because once again, there obviously if this was the play if we got kicked out of the 14 playoff, I wouldn't be saying this, but it's not the case. Uh,
Yep.
but yeah, bowl games. Obviously, you can see one going on behind me right now that I will watch after this. But yeah, I mean, it was good. Obviously, stuff was going on with Michigan coaching and Ohio State prepping for what they hope to be back-to-back national championships. But obviously, go
Yep.
follow us on Twitter, and you get that memorized, don't you?
Step Bros underscore pod.
There you go.
Yeah. And go follow our TikTok. We just made a TikTok. I'm the only one that's
Yes.
posted on it so far, but yeah, we're talking. I'm updating about the coaching search right now. Yeah, it's Step Brothers Podcast One at Step Brothers Podcast One because at Step Brothers Podcast was taken. So
Yes. I'll be
sure
trying to
you
post on that more
put that in
often.
this. It'll be in the description. Yeah.
I'll be AFK, MIA, busy winter meetings for Major League Baseball. That's why. That's my excuse. But anyway, yeah. Also go follow our personal Instagrams, The Wes Clark Show and Andrew.Hyden. But we will see you guys next week and we'll know the results of the CFP. So let us know what your predictions are and what other bowl games you're excited for. But yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you.